Assalamualaikum. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Inceif. Thank you for coming and making time to be with us on Saturday morning. My name is Sophia, and I'll be your MC for today. Okay. Inceif, as you may know, it stands for International Center of Education in Islamic Finance. This building is actually owned by KNM. It used to be the training center. Because as you know, we actually are the central bank. Right? Just a quick show of hands. How many of you have been here before? Okay, so almost half. And obviously, some of you are familiar with our programs. Are there anybody who has already applied? Okay. I'm just going to run through the agenda with you. Okay, so we'll start off with welcoming remarks and the Inceif story by our Deputy President Academic and Dean, Prof. Mansoor Ibrahim. And then we'll hear a bit about opportunities in Islamic finance. The talk will be given by our Associate Professor Dr. Muhammad Iskandar Shah. And then we'll give a quick snippet about the Inceif scholarship and financial aid available. And then you'll get to hear a bit of a sharing session from our alumni. And then we'll break out for the sessions outside. Okay. So as you make your way through, I think as you registered and then you came down the stairs, okay, by the way, along the stairs, that's where the toilets are in case you need them. It's by floors, there's female and male toilets. So as you came down the stairs, you would have passed the ABL counter. So ABL is our action-based learning. It is actually a compulsory course for our master's programs. The course actually provides our students with opportunities to translate the academic-based knowledge that you guys learn here into action by solving real business issues or developing new solutions for the industry. Okay, so check out. We've had we have the ABL posters, and that is the students, the cohort that has successfully completed the ABL course. Right? So do check it out, and then I think as you move along, you will see a Maybank Islamic booth. They're here today in case anybody wants to find out more credit card application and so on. And then we have the marketing booth. That will be where you want to go for the program inquiry. It's open for program inquiry throughout the day. Right? The bulk of it will be the on-site admission and screening process. That will be at the classroom 2. That's like at the corner there. This is where we are now. Is the academic building. So the open day is just going to be around here, so you won't get lost. I think it's just around here. Okay, outside the register room here, I think you may have passed the Research Management Center booth. Okay, so our RMC. So they do research, and under RMC we actually have 3 subdivisions, looking at 3 focus areas. One is social finance, second one is Islamic digital economy, and the third one is value-based intimidation. Part of the Islamic digital economy, you're embarking to fintech, you're embracing the industrial relations 4.0. So today they're actually running a special offer on a Python programming workshop, which outside it can cost you, up to 10,000 ringgit. But if you're interested, here we are offering it to from 500 to 1,004. So if you want to know more about that, do drop by the RMC booth. Okay. So I think I've covered what we have in terms of the booth. Okay. So please feel free to ask questions. We're here to help. We do hope you enjoy our open day program today. Alright, so without further ado, I would like to start our program by introducing our Deputy President Academic and Dean of School of Graduate and Professional Studies, Prof. Mansoor Ibrahim. Just a little background, Prof. Mansoor received his PhD in Economics in 1996 from Washington University in St. Louis. His areas of interest include monetary or macroeconomics, economic development, financial market analysis, Islamic banking and finance, and applied econometrics. He is the guy for econometrics, hands down. His recent research focuses on the socio-economic implications of institutions and Islamic banking performances. Please join me in welcoming Prof. Mansoor.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. And very good morning to all of you. Let me first express my thanks to all of you for allocating your time this morning instead of something else. Normally on Saturday morning, I will take a rest after 5 days a week. Work for example, to take a rest on Saturday morning and go out in the afternoon. But then you take your time to come and listen to us. I would like to thank all of you. And for those of you who are first time here, welcome to Inceif. And for those of you who are coming back, I hope you will come back on a daily basis to our class, inshallah, right? After the briefing that we had today. Okay? So I'll bring you a little bit into the story of Inceif. Right? I think I joined Inceif in 2011. Inceif started in 2005. Right? And if you ask me to describe the story of Inceif or the journey of Inceif, I would say that our journey started with very small steps, but based on a foresight of our former government, on the need to produce human capital for Islamic finance industry. In 2005, we look back into the Malaysian Islamic finance landscape, for example. In terms of market share, it's not big. I would say less than 10%. And in terms of number of countries that have Islamic finance, for example, apart from Sudan and Iran, which have adopted full-fledged Islamic finance systems, other countries also have very small portions of Islamic finance. But because we see that Islamic finance needs to grow fast, in fact, have been growing fast after 2005 or even after the Asian financial crisis, 1997. Right now, we have roughly 10 countries that have what we term as systematically important Islamic banking system, defined by IFSD to be or to have 15% of market share. So you have 10 countries globally, plus 2, so you have 12, Sudan and Iran. So we have 12 where Islamic finance is big. And we foresee that there are more, because there are emerging Islamic finance countries, like Indonesia, Turkey, for example, and then it's expected that many countries in Africa, for example, is growing so fast right now, expecting the next 5 years, the Islamic banking and finance share will be more than 10%. Right? So that need, the foresight of our former government, we started Inceif. Small step to provide training for human capitals. Right? And our journey roughly now less than 15 years, 2005, now 2019. Right? But in 15 years, I would say that we have achieved quite substantially in our journey. And few of which I would like to say that surpass all expectations. Or in terms of achievement, is more than any other institutions that have been there here for more years. So we was set up by Central Bank in 2005, right? And 2006, he was invited by the then Prime Minister. Our starting point is training institutes. But in 2006, we were invited by the then Prime Minister, Patla at the time, to apply for university status. Right? So we applied university status in 2006, right? And then later on, the Inceif has been incorporated as the project of national interest up until the present. Then it's kind of part of initiative by the government to make Malaysia to be the hub of Islamic finance. And that's our starting point. And one of the achievements that we have in the last, I think, in our journey, less than 15 years, we received AACSB accreditation. Right? This accreditation is basically international accreditation from the US based business schools. Only 5%, top 5% of this school worldwide. Right? And in Indonesia we have only 5, in Indonesia we have 1. Right? Throughout Indonesia only 1 university, and in Thailand we have 3. Well, in Singapore we have 3 main universities there, in the US, NTU, as well as the SMU, all those are accredited by ASSB. But then our achievement is for a very simple fact. We are among the youngest university that have received these accreditations, less than 15 years. Look at Malaysia, for example, UPM, roughly 70 years. which received this accreditation just 1 year before us, for example. They are, I think UM is the oldest university, UUM. So less than 15 years received this as part of the step that our education does meet what we take as assurance learning. In all programs that we have the objective what we want to produce, and we have been assured that whatever objective that we want to produce, we will achieve it. So that's one of our achievements. Okay? And I will discuss a little bit more in terms of other achievements that we feel that we can offer you something in terms of your knowledge building, skill set, capacity building for your future career. Okay? And being postgrad institutions, that we are postgrad university, we focus a lot on research and industry-focused executive educations. Right? So starting with training institute, we became the university in 2006 and received international recognitions in context of ACSB, right, in 2018, right? 2018, late 2018, so roughly 14 years. So that's a little bit about Inceif. Okay? Now, I would say that we are the first and only university dedicated to Islamic finance. Not the only, because there are many other institutions, other countries that are setting up. And when we met data analytics as well as practical aspect of Islamic finance embedded into the program. So that's what we differ from others. I think in the context of the program, our master program, we are the only Islamic finance organization before you become social finance institutions or social institutions or rising for current banking as compared to our program is quite data driven. We want to make a link, right? Islamic finance to different industries. We'll be happy if, I think this one you will be brief more in more details later on. We have 5 different programs. The first one we have PCIF. This one very short course, 1 semester, 3 courses. Right? More like what we take as micro type of program or nano type of program. That if you are interested in a very specific area, for example, you can opt for PCIF. Okay? 1 semester, you are with the program. And we have MIP online, which we will be rebranded as Executive Master in Islamic Finance for the January 2020. Okay? And we have MIP face-to-face, and we have MSc, Master of Science in Islamic Finance, and we have our PhD program. Okay? And these are 5 different programs, and our Master as well as PhD program come with scholarships and tuition waiver, which are quite competitive, right? Especially for PhD. Right? And scholarship will be briefed to you later on how many we have. And in fact, you plan to do a master with us, right? We have a whole range of financial assistance to help you. So starting from tuition waiver till bursary, right? On a semesterly basis, we have financial assistance. I think I will leave that to the next briefing that we are going to have. But these are our program. And these are our field of expertise of our staff here. Okay? And more or less, we start with a normal, traditional Islamic finance field, capital markets, banking, takaful. But then we are widening our field to include Islamic social finance. So we have wakaf, zakat coming in, right? But then we are not forgetting about our academic orientation in terms of core, macro, micro, as well as finance. So these are the expertise that we have. Okay? And in terms of our research, right, we have a balance between academic and industry-based type of research. Okay? Initially, we focus on academic research, and we have achieved quite substantially in terms of our academic contributions, our scholarly contributions. Okay? And there exists a ranking for research papers in economics posted by one of American university. Right? In fact, the one that managed the research paper in economics from my former university in the state. Right? And in Malaysia, we have been ranked number 1, right? Which basically the research that we have here, right, despite only 14 years, right, we are better than I think number 2, which is UPM. I was formerly from UPM. I really know how they are very strong in terms of research because they are research institutions. But then when it comes to our academic research contributions, we are better than UPM, right? And we are better than, because the comparison is not by to the university, but to the faculty, right? So we are the size of one department, but then we are able to produce quality research better than, let's say, the Faculty of Economics and Management in UPM, or Faculty of Economics and they call it Economics and Public in UM, or Faculty of Business and Accountancy in UM, and we are better than the IUM, for example, and in terms of our academic research. But we have our standard in terms of academic, but we are moving also to applied research, that research that impact directly to the industry. Right? And in context of applied research, students in Inceif benefit a lot because the researchers that we engage for applied research, mostly our MIP, our MSc, and our PhD students, they work with us closely, right, in terms of conducting research. We have research in social finance, right? And I give you a very simple example. Now we are working closely with UNCHR to look into the problem of refugees in Malaysia, right? And the researchers our students, right? Led by, of course, by our faculty. So we engage students a lot in terms of conducting research. Value-based intimidation, you may have heard the central bank have come up with paperwork on value-based intimidation. Right? The brain behind that, of course, coming from Inceif. We have green energy that we work with, green energy financings. We work with KITA or MESTEC, the ministry, and blockchains. Also, we are working on blockchains. And there are one research coming up, but I cannot make an announcement yet. These are the idea that the research has been requested for us to prepare a proposal. But I cannot make an announcement yet because it involves the national policy. But then, if we bid that research and we obtain the grants, again, the student will drive research. Right? So it's basically our program. When it comes to applied research, we integrate the students into the research team. Okay? So we have a balance between these. Okay? So it's not about if you go to different other universities, for example, PhD program, for example, right? What you have to do, publications, academic publications. Right? You don't have academic publications in other universities. When you do PhD, you will not get PhD. Right? When you are here, we emphasize, okay, we encourage you to the academic publication, but we engage you to the ground. Right? So that's our difference. Okay? We engage you with applied research. Right? And we have a lot of partners in terms of conducting applied research. Right? And I put that our institution is an institution from the industry. For a very simple reason, we have a lot of support from the industry. Right? Khazanah, CIMB Islamics, right? And Bank Rakyat, all the industry support in providing in terms of collaborations, not only research but in terms of human capital. Right? So that's what we have in terms of research. Right? And these are some research that we have done so far. We have MTDC, look at sustainable technopreneurs. We have sustainable policy development and framework that we try to build. We are building for CIMB right now, and as I mentioned, we have done research with MESTEC, right? And we have IFRC partnership for humanitarian actions. Very interesting. We are going to have launching soon for this one, value-based integration and so on. Right? And not only students are able to be exposed to local financial industries, you also will be exposed to international institutions. We work closely with Islamic Development Bank, and we work closely with the World Bank. Right? So basically, if you are at Inceif, right, and you demonstrate yourself to be good, active, interested in research, you will be exposed not only to national institutions, financial institutions, but also international. Right? Because in terms of international contact, we have many partners out there. Right? And you also have the opportunity, for example, to spend one semester in our partner institution, university outside. I think last year we sent 3 to Turkey, spending one semester there. So those are student mobility programs that we have. And we have executive educations in various areas, normal banking, wealth management, takaful, Islamic capital market, risk management. So these are executive educations that we have. Okay? So even if, for example, you are not enrolling yet in terms of master, you can try executive education first, right? In various areas. And we are developing basically a short program, the so-called nano program or micro program, right, to widen our objective is simple. Our existence is basically the basics, right, to provide access to Islamic finance knowledge as widely as possible. Right? And that's the reasons why we never stop expanding ourselves in terms of the product that we offer to the market. Okay? Even if our size is the size of one department, if you compare with other universities. we have less than 20 faculty. Right? You ask, for example, my former faculty, when I was dean before, Kuliah of Economic and Management Sciences, we have over 100 staff. Here we are less than 20, right? But our dream is big. Right? Our dream is big in terms of providing wide access to the Islamic finance knowledge to the market. And we have basically I would say, that's why I'm here. I joined here in 2011. I feel so proud to be here because in terms of the support, being an academic, I have never been in industry, but being academic, the support provided by the Knowledge Management Center, for example, is great and excellent. You look at you can do your own search, right? In terms of support provided to research. We are the only, I would say, that I may not be right, but then I'm quite confident that we are the only institution that subscribe to databases, right, that provide students with support of doing research. Right? You can check other universities. Do they have Bloomberg's, DataStream, and Fit Connects, all three in one institution? Right? Do they have that? You can check, but we have all those three. We have Bloomberg's, then we have DataStream, and we have Fit Connects, which before we call it bank schools. Right? That provide you with banking. Right? Because besides the beginning, we are data-driven, analytical. So this is what we provide. It's quite small nowadays. Right? Somebody you see they have one, or three. Right? Some may have two, but then we have all three. Provide you to the database. So these are what we have. Right? The support is great in contact for you to conduct research. Right? The only thing here you have to ask yourself, right? Are you ready to take the challenges? Right? Because education journey at itself, I would say to you, is not easy. Right? It's not easy. And of course, life is not easy. Right? If you go through the program, it's easy. You get nothing at the end. Right? You go through the program because it's not easy. Right? You will get something. Right? When you go up from our program. So these are our knowledge management center. Right? We have mentioned that our program also we have online, and these are all many different countries that we have our students. So many countries, 73 countries. Right? And they take the exam in their own respective countries. Right? So, as mentioned, we are small, but we are big. Right? So I'm not sure how to put the words big and small, or small to become big, I'm not sure. But then we are small, but we are big in terms of our outreach and our program. So these are our partners that we work with very closely, internationally as well as locally. Right? So these are what we have our partners. Right? So for me, it's basically I'm not going to promise you a country you have easy way to complete the program, especially for a PhD. You have roughly difficult way, up and down, as many of us did. Because when I did my PhD, I come up with conclusions. If you did your PhD, at certain point in time in your program, you don't doubt yourself that whether you are going to finish or not, then you are not in the PhD. Because if you sail through PhD easily, then I bet you that's not a good PhD program. A good PhD program basically grill you to the end, until to the limit that you yourself think that you may not finish. But then what keeps you to go through is your perseverance. And that's very important. Right? So here, of course, we need students that have high CGPA, but that's not the most important criteria that we look at. We need students that persevere, persistence, and willing to contribute to society and have impact to society. So that's what they are, and create impact through Islamic finance. Okay, thank you. Assalamualaikum.
Do you have any questions for Prof. Mansur? Okay. Okay, let's begin and move on to the next on the agenda. No. Okay, next we have talk on the opportunities in Islamic finance. It's a special talk by our Associate Dean of SGPS, Dr. Muhammad Iskandar Shah. Okay, so Associate Professor Dr. Muhammad Iskandar Shah is currently the Associate Dean of SGPS. He holds a PhD in Finance from the University of Nottingham, UK. He also holds a Master's in International Economics and Finance from University of Queensland, Australia, and a Bachelor in Business Administration from IUM. His main teaching and research interests are in the area of asset pricing, corporate finance, and Islamic capital market. Let's hear from our Dr. Iskandar Shah, his take on the opportunities in IF, and how it can contribute to a better world, and a bit on the programs as well. Please give a round of applause for Iskandar.
Morning everyone, Assalamualaikum. Thank you so much. People always say this, always a cliche. Whenever you do something on Saturday, then you just have to reward yourself, because Saturday is always the hardest day. But again, you made the right choice for coming here. The numbers might be small, but it doesn't matter. Alright, so a lot of people have achieved great things even with a smaller number. Alright, and Inceif, we never believe in numbers anyway, because our university is quite small. Alright, so we don't even have 1,000 students. But what we can be proud of is that whatever students that we have produced so far have gone out and made huge impacts. So if you want to measure in terms of the numbers, we might be small, but if you want to measure in terms of impact, we are big. Right? So the question now here is that, are we worried about the numbers, or are we want to worry about the impact? But in today's world, numbers only matters when you want to win elections. Right? But other than that, impact don't really matters. Okay? So, but before I move on and talk about the program which you are here for, let me just talk about why you have to consider Inceif, or why you have to really consider about Islamic finance. Okay? Or you can just forget about the word Islamic finance, or just focusing more of Inceif. Because Inceif is also moving not just away from Islamic finance, but covering a wider concept in terms of sustainability, so on and so forth. Alright, so we are not just a university who are promoting about banking and sukuk, so on and so forth. We are beyond, in fact, Islamic finance. Alright, so I'm going to divide my presentation into 3 parts. The first one is why IF, or why Inceif. And second one is how we do Islamic finance through our programs. And the third part, which is probably, I call it the whatever part. Alright, which means that the whatever question that you have, I'm probably going to entertain you guys. Okay, because having clarity, I think is very important. Okay, I'm sure probably you have heard a lot of good things about Simon Sinek, a lot of great minds who talk about, whenever you want to do something, you always ask yourself why you are doing it. Okay? Because in life, if you make the right choice, you're going to go far. If you go far, but it's going to be slow. That's all. Alright, I'm not saying that, IF is the only way to go far, but what I'm going to try to say is that Islamic finance or the Inceif is probably one way to go far in your life. Okay? So, why part? Okay? Why part? Alright, so I always start my presentation with the why part. And every presentation, I always start with a different topic. Alright, for today, my story, I have my current students sitting at the back, so probably they have heard so many stories, so I have to keep on renewing my stories so I don't bore them. Alright? And don't worry, I will not speak more than 15 minutes. I always believe that a powerful presentation only lasts maximum of 15 minutes. That's why today, whenever we talk about lecture of 3 hours, everyone just going to fall asleep. Alright, so I believe in short presentations and get the message across and make everyone happy and entertained. Because good food is just waiting out there. Alright, it's just like shouting, please come and eat me. Alright, so we don't want to waste good food. Alright, so why Islamic finance? Or why you should really consider Inceif? Right? And I think that's a very important question, or very pertinent question that all of us have to be clear or have some kind of clarity, because the journey that you're all going to go through at Inceif, 2 years of masters or even 4 years of PhD, some of the students are doing up to 7 years of PhD. So you need to have this tenacity and persistence in order for you to complete our program, because not everyone actually can complete our program. Okay, because the most people who succumb to so-called the challenges that we throw to them actually choose to live Inceif, right? Because we don't believe in numbers, right? And we are not just like any typical university who just want to keep on producing and churning up graduates. And you imagine for the last 13 years of our operations, no, actually what, 2005 and 14 years of operation, so far we only have produced 1,700 graduates. So in effect, each year, we're only producing about what? 100 graduates. Am I right or not? The max, does it tell you? Alright, and we spend about 40 million each year to produce 100 graduates. So you do the math. So the math doesn't really make sense, isn't it? So if you are a businessman, you probably think that what kind of business these people are doing. Right? But our contribution is, we measure our contribution to what? Impact. The research that we do, the students that we are producing, so on and so forth. So why Islamic finance? So I'm not sure whether you are a fan of this guy. Have you heard about Yuval Noah Harari? Yes, some of you probably have read his book, and he's written so many great books. One of them is Homo Sapiens and the success of the stories of 21st centuries and everything. And there's so many books that he's written. Actually, he has written 4 great books. And if you are a fan of him or you are not, I would strongly recommend you to read the book. Alright? And in the book, the latest one that he said, in the world that we are living today, it's always about we against them. They against us. Are you following so far? Yeah. So it's always that we are trying to basically think about what is the right for us and what is the right thing for them. So if you want to think like that, even Islamic finance, you can go along that line as well. Alright? So I'm not saying that we are Islamic finance, we are going against conventional finance. But what I'm trying to say here is that this we against them is kind of a connotation, is what is right and what is wrong. So what we are trying to do in Islamic finance or in Inceif is to figure out is actually what is right. So the question is understanding what is right, that means need an appreciation what is wrong. Right? So if I want to throw you a question today, what is exactly wrong with the conventional system? You can basically tell me many things. Am I right? But is there a good thing about conventional system? The answer is yes. There are many great things about conventional system. If you read the books written by him, he said that today human beings are having the greatest life or greatest enjoyment of life. You know why? Because we are eating more than what we need. Human beings only need 500 calories per day, but they are eating up to 1,500 calories per day. And why that is possible? Simply because we have agricultural revolution, we have industrial revolution, we have scientific revolution, and now we have digital revolution. And all this revolution was possible only because of one thing, which is finance. Now that one you don't have to argue with me. Right? Because I'm a finance people, so we can debate about that, but that is the fact. Finance has allowed all the greatest revolution in this world to take place. And there is no such thing as Islamic finance in the past. So we have to give credit to the people who created the banking system, who created stock market, who created bond market, so on and so forth. For example, stocks only exist 100 years ago. Am I right or not? What is the greatest innovation of stocks? Because it has allowed companies to take risks beyond human imagination. If today I ask you, will you put $4 billion building a road? Will you put up $4 billion of your own money building a road? No. Never. But today, people can take investment out of what? Billions of dollars. You know why? Investment that what we call as the stock market. So, we have to accept that all these things exist today because of the revolutions in finance that lead to other revolutions. But the question is why we are being so critical about that system that allows us to have more than what we need. If I ask the ladies, do you have more tudung than you need? The answer is yes. Right? That's why Fashion Ballet and Nilofa is making a lot of money. Because we always buy beyond our necessity. Do you all agree or not? You all agree or not? from consumption to human life is always beyond that 1 minute. So that's what's so great about the world that we are living today. However, the world that we are living today, as much that you want to be so critical about the system, it has given us so much, but why we are so critical and want to consider Islamic finance, because out of all this revolution, there were side effects. You get my side effects? And the greatest side effect is what? Inequality. Right? If you read the book $1 Billion Whale, I'm not sure whether you are a fan of Jolo, right? If you read the book of $1 Billion Whale, you probably figure out how the rich live in this world. They can even have champagne for 50,000 euro per bottle. People buy painting up to 47 million US dollar. You know a painting? Let me ask you, what satisfaction you get from spending $47 million on a painting? What can you do with the painting? And why people spend so much money? Because of a prestige. Am I right? So the point is, today 1% is owned more than 50%. I don't want to bore you with all these statistics. You know better. Alright? That's the one challenge. Second is climate change. Is climate change real? We Malaysians, we should know better more than climate change. Right? If nation doesn't understand climate change, that means there's something wrong with you. Right? Because we can't even walk on the street for half an hour at 12 o'clock. Am I right or not? Climate change is real. And we are getting more floods. Am I right? And floods is against our effort to combat poverty. Because every time there's a flood, it's destroy crops. And destroy crop means the farmer has to borrow. Borrow means more interest. So more of the money will go through interest. So poverty cycle will continue. That's just one example. And the third one, that the greatest challenges that we all are facing are what? Unemployment. Due to what? Digital revolutions. Today in Malaysia, there are 200,000 unemployed graduates. Those days, I can see some parents are here, because it's always common nowadays when children want to go to university, the father will come to them. The father has to decide whether the children is going to the right university or not. Am I sending them to in the good hand or in the wrong hand? Right? Whether we make sense or not. So those days, during my days, when I got to graduate, my father was so happy. You know why? Because the son will get a job and he will make my life better because I don't have to worry about my son anymore. Today, even after you graduate, you're still living with your parents. Because you are struggling to get even a job. So your parents, who spend so much money educating you, you still have to worry about your marriage, about your job, and these things become like a vicious cycle. Do you understand? And in Malaysia, it's about 200,000 unemployed graduates today in Malaysia. And that's not including people who are just working as a Grab driver and everything. Today, Malaysian Grab drivers are fantastic, highly educated. Right? I've done this survey. Alright, 8 out of 10 are either ex-professional who are being laid off because the company are not sustainable, or a graduate who cannot find a job. Am I right or not? And you can have a very high intellectual discussion with them. So was a time, I always cover, right? So there was a time, so Bang, what do you think about economy? Oh my God, this guy knows his stuff, man. Right? You get what I mean? So people know their stuff. So today, one great thing that we have achieved in Malaysia is that we are able to produce a lot of qualified unemployed. Right. And these are, I can tell you, the 3 greatest challenges that Malaysia is facing. Am I making sense here? 3, not just Malaysia is facing, but the global is facing. Okay, so let me go into the program. So I already explained to you about the challenges. So why Islamic finance? Okay, why Islamic finance? Very simple, guys. I don't want to bore you. As I told you, I'll try to stop within 15-20 minutes. And then I just want to hear out your questions. Why Islamic finance? Because if you want to make sure that you correct the system, you need to start with the epicenter of the system. Am I right? And the epicenter of the system is actually finance. And you cannot continue doing the finance the way that we are doing because we can see the side effects. So what we are just trying to say here is that if you correct the system, then you're going to correct the entire ecosystem. Because if you study the history, you probably know that all the greatest revolutions started with revolution in finance. Right? When we had the Second World War, I'm sure you know this guy, Franklin D. Roosevelt. You know this Franklin D. Roosevelt? Alright, maybe you guys are too young for him. Right? Franklin D. Roosevelt is one of the greatest president of America of all time. After Abraham Lincoln, of course. No one can go near Abraham Lincoln. That guy is different. Right? And then you got Obama, and then eventually, it's always a cycle. Obama, then you had a joker after that. Imagine the world that we're living today. We got Boris Johnson, and then we got Obama, and then we got Modi, we got, oh my God. So, sometimes I wonder, it's better to become a joker, at least you end up becoming a president. It's the truth, it's a fact. Because 90% of the people out there who are not educated, so what do you expect from less educated people? They love jokes, am I right or not? Right? So you have to be a joker to get elected. So if you are smart, you come and speak in front of 20 people, that's all. Right? Because smart people doesn't like uneducated people. Unfortunately, the people like us, the numbers are shrinking. Alright, so that's why education, we have to make it very important. So why Islamic finance is very simple, guys. Our value proposition is different. Our value proposition is unique. Our value proposition believe in greater good. I'm not saying that conventional finance doesn't believe in greater good. They do. But we have our unique value proposition, and we think by doing Islamic finance correctly, it's going to bring a lot of benefit, not only to Malaysia, but to global regions. Alright? Today you go to Indonesia, great stuff is happening in Indonesia. They're going to invest almost $600 billion of infrastructure. Forget about Malaysia. Malaysia all no joke already. We are in twilight. You understand the meaning of twilight or not? Alright? Because we wanted to do digital, but multimedia super corridor, but Cyberjaya only happened to be a property development. Alright? So our dream to embrace digital was not, and we now want to restart this digital revolution. It's going to take time because our graduates are not ready for it. You understand? Because the future is always depends on what you teach your graduates. So if you teach your graduates this, they're going to do this. So we are not ready for digital. We have to continue building towers. Right? So we are very good in building towers, but no one is using the towers anymore. Because no why? Because your people are only doing all virtual. You understand what virtual? Work from home. You understand? Work from home and work from Starbucks and everything. So I always wonder why we are building this tower after tower. Maybe it's the pride of the country. But anyway, I travel a lot to Indonesia. Great stuff are happening out there. They're going to issue suku of $600 billion dollar. They're going to build a new city in Borneo, and I'm sure you guys are aware of that. There's a lot of great stuff happening, and the epicenter of that is basically going to be Islamic finance. Alright? So I'm just saying this just to tell you that it's not strange to do Islamic finance. It's okay to do Islamic finance because banking asset in Malaysia, Islamic banking asset in Malaysia is 35%. We are number one suku issuance in the world. 80% of the total issuance in Malaysia is basically suku. And the reason why people issue suku is very simple. Because if you issue suku, conventional can buy, Islamic also can buy. Alright? If you don't believe me, you can ask people in CIB and you can ask anyone, because I also do attachment with them and I probably know the figures as well, because they want to issue suku because conventional can buy, Islamic can also buy. Alright? So a lot of great stuff are happening. So if you think that you want to be part of this great stuff, so please come and join us. I do a bit of marketing as well. Alright? So please come and join us. And why we also have to join us? We have great stuff like ABL, Action-Based Learning, where master student will go in, become a consultants and get into a project, do real stuff, get into companies and become, do real problem stuff, so on and so forth. That's another value proposition. And the third value proposition of why you should come to Inceif is that you have this opportunity to become a research assistant for a lot of applied projects. Alright? And this is real applied project. For example, Hong Leong give us 1 million to do applied project. So we don't do it ourselves. We bring about 7-8 students. For example, I'm doing one project with CIMB to develop SME policy for CIMB. So I employ 7-8 people of our students to do it. So when you come to Inceif, not only you learn about all this theory stuff, which we are very good at, we also do a lot of practical stuff. When I say practical stuff, I mean real practical. That means you go out there and solve real problem, live problem, not even simulation problem. You understand the difference? Sorry if I sound a bit emotional. It's not the selling part. You understand the selling part? The previous one, the marketing part. Now the convincing part, the selling part. So to get it done, to close the deal, you know. So I watch a lot of Suits, so I admire how he. So he's the best closer in New York. So at least I try to be the best closer in BJ. Alright, so no, we can't play their game. You know, they talk about $1 billion game. We are still a small kids. You know. Alright. So let me just go through the program quickly. Alright. So I finished the why part. Let me do the how part now. Okay, so how we do things in Inceif is very simple. We only got one school. My boss just now, who spoke to you about Inceif and everything, so he's my boss from Inceif. So he's the one who leading the school. I'm the number 2 associate dean. So I manage you all up, the program, you all small, all under my responsibility. So if I cannot solve the problem, I go to the boss. Right? So that's how normally it works. So we got 3 programs, MSc, MIP and also PhD. MIP we have 2 forms, MIP face-to-face and also MIP online. Okay, we have 2. So either you decided to do online or face-to-face, the curriculum is almost the same. The only difference between MIP face-to-face and online is for MIP face-to-face you have action-based learning, for MIP online you don't have action-based learning. Okay, the rest all are the same. Okay, and then we have PhD. We have 2 kinds of PhD. Number 1 is the PhD by coursework and dissertations, which is for those who do not have enough knowledge in Islamic finance. But if you already have enough knowledge in Islamic finance, you're going to go into PhD by research. Okay, for all our students, especially the one who done MSc, if they want to pursue PhD, they will go straight away to PhD by research. Okay, because PhD by research and by coursework, the difference is this. PhD by research, you have this much of knowledge, so you are good enough to straight away go to research. PhD by coursework, you only have this much of knowledge, but you need to build your knowledge first before you go to the research component. That's the difference. And how we build up your knowledge is very simple. We give you coursework so that we prepare you before you go into the research work. Is that clear? And MSc is basically one way of preparing the student for PhD, but more the difference between MSc and MIP also, MSc is more quantitative in nature, a lot of maths, a lot of theory, a lot of philosophy and everything. MIP is more practical driven. The curriculum is driven from the practice. Okay, and MSc, the curriculum is more driven by the what? By the theory and philosophy. Okay, that's the difference. Alright, so okay. Alright. In terms of number of courses, is pretty much similar. You're probably going to do around 14 courses for both. Okay, 14 courses including the project paper. Okay, but the project paper is more heavy for MSc as compared to MIP. Which means that for MSc you have to write substantially as compared to MIP. Okay, so that's why I said if you want to do PhD and you don't have to do a master's, then I would strongly recommend you to do MSc rather than doing MIP. Because MIP you're only going to get very few exemptions. And for MSc, you're going to get what? A lot of exemptions. Is that clear? And I already mentioned to you, this is one of the best part of our program. That we have a semester-long ABL, where you have a chance to experience yourself or immerse yourself with the actual problems provided by the real companies. Right? And I'm telling you, this ABL is just fantastic. Right? We try out last semester. I think the students really enjoy it. And we're going to try out again, we're going to do it again this semester, and we have many more interesting projects. And these projects are real, these projects are the one who's making impact, and some of the companies that even appreciate these projects. And for your information, during InnoFest recently, some of the ideas were presented, and some of the ideas even got a call from few companies to incubate those ideas into a real product in the real world. Okay, so this is a big way for you to get into the real world, but first come to Inceif. Right? Okay, so these are some of the courses. I don't want to go into detail because you have the brochure. I will be available today until 3 o'clock anyway because they asked me to work until 3 o'clock. So I'll be around. So in case you want to know about the detail of the program, me and my colleagues all are more than happy to support you. Okay? Alright, and then the good thing about MSc also, you can specialize whether you want to specialize in capital market or you can also just choose to specialize in banking. Okay? Alright. So quickly, this is the MIP program. As you can see, both have action-based learning. The courses might be similar between MSc and MIP. Some of the classes might be combined, but the approach is slightly different. As I said, this is more practical in nature, and MSc is more theoretical in nature. But it has a combination of both. Maybe this one 70% practical, 30% theory. MSc 70% theory, 30% practical. That's how you should see it. Okay? Okay. So these are the courses lah. Okay. So I already explained to you. We have 2 PhDs. One by coursework and dissertation, and another one is PhD by research. The difference is this one is for no background, and this one with people who have substantial background. So even you are from industry, you already done a lot of work in Islamic finance, you can actually apply to PhD by research. Okay, so this is for the senior people. This is probably slightly junior in Islamic finance. That's what I can mention about this too. Okay, and these are the courses. Some of the courses are similar to MSc. You're going to sit together in one class. Some of the courses are different, only for the PhD students. Okay. Alright. So let me finish my presentation by telling you one of our best product, one best selling proposition. To be honest with you, in Malaysia, I'm not talking about globally. In Malaysia, in terms of faculty, no one can come close to us. Right? We have the best faculty in terms of reputation, in terms of their qualifications, so on and so forth. So this is my boss, leading econometrician in the country. Maybe he was quite humble, but it's actually, so I can easily say the best econometrician in the country. Alright, and his supervisor is Douglas North. I'm not sure whether you know Douglas North or not. If you follow economics literature, Douglas North is the guy who developed institutional framework, and he got a Nobel Prize winner. He's a Nobel Prize winner, so the supervisor. Alright, so myself, my supervisor thinks he's a Nobel laureate, but he's not yet. So I can't talk about myself. Dr. Zia is the Sharia, not Sharia advisor. He's a Sharia advisor. He's the what the title for it? Chief, head of Sharia Committee HSBC Amanah. Okay, so he chaired the Sharia Committee of HSBC Amanah, and he also do a lot of consultancy globally. So very hard to find him in campus because he traveled like 4 months in a year, or maybe more than that. Right? Even now he's on his way to Nigeria, and then to South Africa, and then to Bangladesh, and then to Kazakhstan, and then to Spain. So that's his traveling plan for the next 1 month, because he got a lot of invitation. Just to tell you how good we are, right? Right? Dato' Arif, former head of MIER, Malaysian Institute of Economic Research, also good friend of Dato' Sri Anwar Ibrahim. Now I can mention because now they are running government. Those days I cannot mention, alright? But good friend, easily can become a chief economic advisor, but decided not to because he loved Inceif so much. But in fact, he was offered anyway, so decided not to because he loved Inceif so much. Okay. He teaches international finance. For Barum, head research, all this applied research, everything he does, he's the one who bringing all the business, and supported by Dr. Adam, Oxford graduate, formerly with Bank Negara. Prof. Shamsi, finance. Very seasoned lecturer in finance. Prof. Shah, president of MIXA, well known for his lecture. He's a great teacher, Prof. Shah. You want to listen to many jokes, he's the man. Right? And 3 hours feel like half an hour because you never get bored in his class, and he's an extremely good lecturer. He teaches economics as well. Prof. Zul, expert in Sharia audit, a lot of industry consultancy project out there, Sharia audit. He worked for Jagamas as well. Audit Jagamas and few other banks, especially in Sharia audit. Prof. Saiful, risk management, sit in a lot of banks as an expert. Prof. Obai, I'm sure you know Prof. Obai lah. For you doing finance, you sure you know Prof. Obai. Board member for Bank Rakyat, advisor to Turkish government, to issue sukuk in Turkish government. He's one of the advisor. Prof. Bilal, maybe sounds a bit irrelevant to himself because his area is physics. But he's the only one in Malaysia who knows quantum finance, because his area is actually quantum mechanics. Okay, so if you want to know the next revolution of digital world is quantum. Am I right or not? So he knows quantum. So if you can understand his class, I salute you lah. Right? So, but he's a good lecturer, and he makes sure that people understand and people pass his subject. Even though people are so afraid of taking his subject, but whoever take pass. Yeah. Alright? Because he always guides the student, but he's a brilliant mathematician. Okay? Dr. Shea, former banker, and then did PhD, and then joined Prof. Izam. If you, Cik Izam, if you probably in Takaful, you know, he was the CEO of a 2 Takaful company, former CEO, and then with us now. And then we have 2 ladies, and both of them are top 300 most women influential. I don't know the award, but they got this award of the top 300 women in Islamic finance. Okay, alright. And then this is our latest baby. So we call him baby because he's the youngest, alright. Because in Inceif the oldest is 79 years old, alright. So he's the youngest. So that's why one thing I like about Inceif is, as you get old, don't worry, because people are still older than you. So that's one great thing about working in Inceif, that you still feel that you are young. Okay. So that's the lecturer, and I already told you how great we are. Maybe a bit of overselling, but it doesn't matter. But that's what the world is. All right. Okay. And this is my team. From Manso is my boss, and I manage the team in terms of administration and operations. So I'm the associate dean, my manager, and all these are program exec that you're gonna come across. The only one is around today is Nafshatul. She's at the back. The rest all decided that they have something else to do on Saturday. Because we know we can handle, because it's just normally a small crowd. And I told you that we never worried about the numbers, we always worried about the quality. Okay, so that's the how part, and now is the whatever part. So now whatever questions that you have, please ask, and then I try my level best to answer. If I not, then we have a very good team at the back. All of them are dedicated, been working for this for the last 2 weeks, if I can remember, and then they have put a good show. So we should really appreciate them for doing all this. Alright, and now the whatever part, if you have any questions, this is the time. My student cannot ask them, right? Okay. Any questions you want to know? Right. You want to know whether you're going to get a job after graduating from Inceif? The answer is yes. Right. Alright. I just want to tell you, some of our PhDs now are working in some of the top universities in the world. And they are publishing in some of the top journals also in the world. Right. As I said, we don't have many, we only got 16 faculty, but our faculties are quite good. And because they are well paid as well, so they must be good. So because we pay above the market value. Alright, any questions now? Okay.
I have a question.
Yes, so please.
I just like to know what is the difference between Inceif and the Islamic University?
Oh, okay. The IIUM?
Yeah, I think there's two major players for.
Two major players. Okay.
One is Inceif, one is that. So what does make you different?
What makes us different?
Yeah.
First of all, we are boutique university. They are comprehensive university. Okay, and they have a leverage model, which means that they pick the lecturer from Sharia, they pick the lecturer from law, they pick from the lecturer from economics, they pick the lecturer from accounting, whoever are sympathetic towards Islamic finance, and then they put them together and they make an institute. Okay, all right. So that's their model. All right, and then they are more known for their prowess in law and also in Sharia. Okay. Having said that, it's not that we are not good with Sharia. We are also great with Sharia because we have Islam. So all the great minds in Sharia are also part of Inceif, but they are working with Islam. So for example, you talk about the top scholar, Prof. Akram, Prof. Ashraf Hashim, Prof. Said Buraha, who advised many central banks in the world. Okay, I just give you one example, again selling part, Prof. Akram. He's an advisor for Afghanistan, he's an advisor for Oman, he's an advisor for Pakistan. And also he sits in the Sharia Central Committee of Malaysia, which is SSC of Bank Negara, and also SSC of SC, which is the top SSC in the country, Sharia Advisory Committee. Okay? But the other advantage of Inceif is we are very good with numbers. So we have great professors in econometrics and mathematics. That one UIA cannot compete with us. You know why? Because the best of them who were in UIA now here. Alright? So, from Manso, example, From UIA here, from Obai, UIA here, myself, UIA here. So there are few of us. Some of them say we are the traitor, the Judas, you know. We go after the money, but it doesn't matter. Alright, so we feel that, you know, it's alright. That's the difference. So just to answer your question, UIA is very good with fiqh, with Islamic studies, with law, with Sharia, because they are able to choose from many faculties. We are small, we are not able to do that, so what we do is that we bring the best brain to Inceif. Okay? Because we have a better incentive package in terms of so-called private sector, like I'm sure you know better. Alright, yes.
So the alumni from Inceif, the master's PhD, where would they normally go to?
So at this point of time, majority of them are in the financial institutions. Right?
Yes.
Okay, to the one that I can remember at the top of my head. One person, his name is Arshad Noor. He joined HSBC Amanda for 2 years. Then he got promoted. Now he's he's a manager or slightly more than that, private banking in Afiq. Example, this is what I'm one of the students that I taught. Few are in SC. Bank Negara we got few, but Bank Negara they already working. The Bank Negara come and then they go back. Some of them are in Pakistan with so many banks. Some of them are working in the universities. The one that I mentioned about the PhD, 2 of our PhD in Pakistan. One is working with LAMS, Lahore University of Management Science, the top business school in Pakistan. The other one is working with IBA, Institute of Business Administration, also another top business school in Pakistan. We got few in Europe. But many, I would say about 60 to 70% are basically in the financial institution. Because remember, when we started, we only want to produce talent for financial institution. That's how when we started, because we only had CIP program at that time. Alright, the only reason is because we want to build people to the Islamic finance industry. But now, as we go along, we want to introduce more business courses like sustainable business and so on and so forth. So now some of our graduates are even doing their own thingy, startup, fintech, you know. Some of them are working with ETI, some of them are working with Fintera, some of them are... So a lot of people are now going into this new revolution, which is what we call as a digital revolutions. Okay, I think Nisa should know better where our alumni is. I think she probably, because she's very close with the student. I used to, as I get old and I been a bit detached with the students, but yeah, Nisa should know better about where our alumni is. And even Ulfa is at the back. Ulfa is heading our alumni, so she probably have all the database of where our alumni is. But I'm not saying that all our alumni are doing great. You know, that's a bit, it's a lie. I can say about 70 to 80% of our alumni are doing a wonderful job. Some of them are even leading the institution who are building Islamic finance in their own country. For example, Kazakhstan, Somalia. So these are new countries that are building Islamic finance, and our graduates are actually building the framework and ecosystem for it. Indonesia, we have people in OJK, we have people in Bank Indonesia, we have people in many other universities. So we are quite proud, yeah, but we obviously can do more, definitely. I mean, we are so young, we are only 13 years old. You can't compare us with Harvard, these are 200 years old. We are nowhere compared to LSE. You get my point or not? They are 100 years old, and we are nowhere compared to them. But we aim to become like them, of course. Our model is always after IMD and Inceif. This is the 2 models that we always want to follow, because that's why we never had undergraduate program. The reason is because we just want to follow Inceif and IMD models. And we are far away. I'm not saying that we are there, but we are trying to make effort to reach that particular level. Okay? Any other questions before I pass the mic? Only the, I can't see, only the mature people ask questions. How about the younger people? I don't use the word old nowadays, because I'm also past 40, so I'm showing that if we have a new sport minister who thinks that anyone who above 40 is a senior citizen. Yeah, so, you know, at least you see, this is the vision of Inceif. The vision of Inceif is very simple. We are small, but we want to be the game changer. So we want our future cabinet ministers, we want our future leaders to all to graduate from Inceif. Alright, that is our target. That's why despite losing money every year, for your information, all these years we have lost about 400 million ringgit. Not close to 1 MDB though, but yeah, But as a business model, we actually have lost about almost 400 million ringgit. But despite that, why we still continue? Because we believe in creating the top leaders in the country, and they should have a value of Islamic finance, or value of sustainable business, or value of good values, because a nation is always shaped by good values. Alright, if I can close my speech, I just want to tell you this. Alright, Argentina used to be the top 10 economy in the world. Alright, but now they are, I don't want to use the word, but they are in deep trouble. You know why?
Because Maradona retired.
Alright? Because Maradona retired. Right? They don't have source of inspiration anymore. And the only thing I like about Argentina is because of Maradona and Messi. They play fantastic football, you know. I think it's a pleasant to our eyes to see them play football. But anyway, so the point I'm trying to make here is that the reason why Argentina fail or failing is because of the failure of leaders and institutions. Right? So don't be so proud of what Malaysia has achieved. We are a great nation, but we can only maintain this nation if we continue producing great leaders. You know why? Because great leaders will build great institutions, and that's the only thing that we need to make sure that we run this country fairly and better for the future generations. And you all are future generations. Alright? I still think I'm a future generation. Alright? Thanks to people who are Inceif are much older than me, but I have to accept the fact that my time is also running out soon. So I'm talking to all these young people. So please have this dream, aspiration, so that together we can build a greater country, because the opportunity out there is just so immense. I'm telling you, you just have to go out and see the world, and you probably realize that there are thousands of things we can do as a human being. Alright? Forget the word Islamic finance, or forget the word of values. Just do it because it's the right thing to do. Because it's our moral obligation to do the right thing. Because if you don't do it, no one else will do it. Alright, so with that, I thank you. Assalamualaikum, have a great day, and I really hope to see some of you joining our program. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Iskandar. Okay, I hope you guys have been enjoying the sessions that we've had so far, getting to know more about Inceif and Islamic finance in general. Okay, so if you are convinced by their pitches, don't miss this chance to apply today, as we will waive the application fees for the September 2019 intake and receive a mystery gift when you enroll today. Okay, so the next one, we have Ms. Nisa Khairuddin, who is the Director of the Registry and Student Services Department. So they've recently had a name change. If you notice, the sign outside their department is called ASAD, Admission and Student Administration Department. So that's them over there. So she will talk a bit about the scholarship and financial aid available in Inceif. Without further ado, Ms. Nisa.
Assalamualaikum. First of all, I'm so sorry my voice is like this. I'm actually waiting for my colleague to come in to help me. Ufa, can you help? I will call Shafa and Nima. Right, let me formally introduce myself. My name is Nisa from Registry and Student Services. I'm really sorry that my voice is like this. But now I have a few information on scholarship and financial aid for you today. The slide can be downloaded now. Just put up your phone and scan the QR code, so that if you can't follow me because my voice is like this, at least you can have this as a backup for your information. Yeah. So I'm just gonna pause this slide for about 10 seconds for you to upload it. For the one standing at the back with blue shirt and pink Tudong, that's Sister Sharina. So she's the person in charge for scholarship and funding. So if you apply for scholarship or if you apply for any of the financial assistance, then you'll be most likely to be liaising with her. Okay, we got a point for us when we have internal scholarship recipient. You are all under the care of the scholarship committee, head by or chaired by Professor Mansur, our Deputy President Academy, the one who spoke the first one this morning. Now, this is the first one. The most premier scholarship that we have at Inceif is called Inceif Chancellor Scholarship. So this is mainly for PhD candidates. It covers your fees, and also it covers your monthly stipend of 2,500 for the duration of 3 years. When I say premier, one is the number of seats is not that many. That's number one. Number two is that the assessment is more rigorous compared to if you apply for master's scholarship. We are setting the standard quite high because those who are currently receiving it has basically set the standard very high. So when we chose, it's not basically, let's say for example September semester we have 2 seats, for example, yeah? And it's not necessarily that we have to fill in the both seats if we can't find an outstanding candidate for this. So we are willing to bring forward the seat to January semester. Yeah? So it's not about filling the seats, but it's about getting the right candidate to be holding this scholarship. Yeah? So the criteria of course, when we say minimum CGPA 3.5, based on the cohort, it can be more. It can be more. And when we assess, it's not just academic qualification. We also assess your research interest. We also assess whether you have published before. We also assess your research ability, and we also assess your overall personal traits. So now, as I mentioned, the one holding those who are holding currently our scholarships, they are setting the bar high. So when we are assessing, we will be comparing you guys with them. Yeah? Now, and also the candidate will be working for us as a graduate academic assistant. So when we do this, of course, this is basically to help you to build up your academic credential, for you to do your research, for you to be engaged with our projects in Inceif. Yeah? This is the President's Scholarship. This is open for both Masters and MSc, MIFP and MSc. It covers only the tuition fees. This is the amount of the tuition fees for MSc and for MIFP. And the duration is maximum 2 years. Most of us, I assume, here applying for MSc or MIFP. Who's applying for MIFP? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How about MSc? Only one?
I'm not sure yet.
You're not sure? Okay. Why is it that you're not sure? If I can help.
I don't know because at first I applied for MIS and MFP.
Okay.
Then after I heard the talks from Iskandar, then I feel like MSc is more suitable for me. That's why I still continue.
Right. Where do you want to be in the next 5 years? Do you want to work or do you want to be in a research line?
I don't. My point is I don't want to continue PhD. Then after I finish, I will direct go to the industry work.
Then it might be for you then. But you can, today we have advisors. So later on, after all the briefings is done, you can go towards the counter, the school counter, and then the school can advise you better. You can go through the courses one by one, and then you can look at. The thing is, MIP and MSc, all the classes are doing in time. So the classes shouldn't be of issue. It's just that whether the courses and the rigor of the courses are fit for you. So if you don't want to go through PhD, or you want to go in the research line, or you don't want to go into the academician line, then apply for MIFB.
Because I feel like MSc is like more theoretical subject.
It's why do you want it to be a theoretical subject?
Because I scared I cannot carry the, how to say the practical subject.
Alright,
Because one more,
maybe later on, when we have the alumni session, then we have Hamahida-san at the back who can probably help you better. If you want to work in the industry, whether you should be in the theoretical area or you should be in the industry area. But don't worry, at Inceif, it's not easy to pass, and it's also not easy to fail. So if you work well and you know how to manage your time well, then you should be able to continue the program until the end. So don't worry about whether it's practical and it's difficult. You always have supports on campus, whether it's your peers, your current students, or maybe your seniors, or maybe your alumni. But today is always for you to explore which programs for you. But I would advise you to look into MIFP more. Okay. Now, so this is the President Scholarship. Yeah, I think basically today, if you want to apply for both scholarship, Chancellor Scholarship and also President Scholarship, what you have to do is you have to apply online. So you have to log on to online application form. Our colleagues today will help you if you need to apply. This is the normal admission application, yeah. So there's no separate application for all these scholarship. In fact, when you log on and you completing your application form under section 9 financial particulars, you have to choose a scholarship and further choose applying for scholarship. So in our system, we have gotten your indication that you are applying for the scholarship. It's that easy. You don't have to submit, you don't have to submit 2 forms. It's just in 1 form. Get it? Okay? So the second one we have is Inceif bursary. Inceif bursary is a financial assistance. It's not scholarship that covers the whole program. It can cover partly of the program. It can cover up to all, but depending on your academic achievement. So for Inceif bursary, it opens to all, and for PhD, MIFB, and MSc, normally Inceif bursary is open to continuing students. We don't normally open to new students, yeah. But for this particular September and January intake, we have this special bursary where you can apply as a new student, and if you go through the whole assessment, you can get up to 10,000 ringgit financial assistance so that you can cover your first semester and maybe your second semester onwards. If you're an online student, 10,000 ringgit is basically almost half of your fees. Not almost half, almost maybe 75% of your fees. So if you're a full-time, this is almost half of your fees. So this is also part of us trying to help you kick off your studies. You can get more than 10,000 provided that you, you can get more than 10,000 provided that you maintain your CGPA 3.3 for MSc, no fails at all for MIFP, and CGPA 3.5 for PhD. Yeah. So meaning that after you have exhausted all 10,000, you can reapply again. And you reapply, you have to make sure that your academic performance maintains. Then that's what I meant. That's why I said with financial assistance, you are able to be funded almost all throughout the program, provided that your academic achievement is good on a semester basis. Okay. External scholarships. So we have a few. The first one that is, the deadline is today. Actually the deadline was yesterday for Maybank. But we asked them to extend just for us. So Maybank, later on there's a poster I'll show you. But all of this information, Sharina will help you later if you have more questions. So we have Khazanah Inceif Scholarship. This is ongoing for next year. We have this is from the ministry. We have an SMP Rakyat. We have Home Fund. We have JPA. So this is Maybank. So we call it Maybank Islamic Postgraduate Sponsorship Program. So they have 9 seats for 3 years, but it's given to only 6 universities. Isra is not university, but the seats are given to them. So we have Isra, Inceif, IIM, USIM, and also USIM Malaya. And also IIF, which is a school under IIM. So this is mainly for those who are studying Islamic finance. And if you are applying for one now, then you are eligible to apply for this one. However, they need you to have an offer letter. Is it right now? An offer letter. So which means that if you want to apply for this one, then you have to submit your online application today. Do it until you get an offer letter, then you can apply for this one. There is no bonding for this one. They are just giving it out. And you are getting full cost fee and also a monthly allowance for a duration of 2 years. If I'm not mistaken, so that's Maybank. This is Yayasan Bank Raya. It's a bit texty, but if you have downloaded this slide, then you can have a look line by line. Yayasan Bank Raya is giving per player and pendidikan berubah, meaning that it's a financing in the first place, but if you do well, then they could turn into a scholarship. So this is criteria for masters, and this is criteria for PhD. So it's open for masters and PhD, and it's only for postgraduate, not for undergraduate. Okay. Alright, I think that's about it. Do you have any questions?
Does sponsorship cover for MIF program?
Yeah.
Because I already applied for Maybank, but he said that I'm not qualified. Even I received an offer letter for September intake, but he said the sponsorship is for postgrad, and I think MIF is a postgrad program, but still I'm not qualified.
Can you forward the email to Sharina?
Okay.
Then we'll help you follow up. Just email it to studentservices@inceif.org, then you will get all of this. Can I have your name, please?
Ishra.
Ishra. Okay. Alright. Hi, Yusuf. So today we are having on-site scholarship interview as well. So if you are applying and then you have gone through the application and all that, then you make sure that you register your name with Sharina, and we can set you for interview session today itself. So at least we can expedite your scholarship application. Any more questions? No? Okay. Sure? So if you have any inquiries and you don't want to, or you only thought about it after this session, you can always email studentservices@inceif.org. Basically, anything regards to our team, registry and student services, we will be handling you after you have enrolled as an Inceif student until your graduation. So if you have any inquiries, let's say for example, you need accommodation, or you need visa, or you need, let's say you need to register certain things, for example, you can always ask us. Our office is just on this floor. As Sophia mentioned just now, we had a current restructure. We were previously known as Asad, Admission and Student Affairs. Now we are RSS, Registry and Student Services. So if people call ASAT, it is still us. And people have been accustomed to ASAT for 13 years now. So it takes time for us to be accustomed to a new name. And also the whole organization to accustomed to a new name. But rest assured, RSS is actually ASAT. Now I think with that, thank you very much. We hope to have you on campus, inshallah. Assalamualaikum.
Thank you, Lisa. I hope this session has given you some answers to what you may have been wondering about. But do stay on and talk to our team later. They will be happy to chat with you some more and answer any questions you may have. Now, I'm excited for this next talk, as it is very special to us to have a couple of alumni here with us today. Let's now hear from them about their experiences as students at Inceif and where they are now with their careers. On the panel, we have Mr. Zusuf Khan Zainal Khan, a business designer of Statlah Innovation, and we also have Mr. Masumi Hamahira, who is an executive advisor, Islamic Banking Window, ICBU, and MUFG Bank Malaysia. Okay, and this session will be moderated by Ms. Ulfa from our office. Okay, with that, over to you, Ulfa.
Okay, thank you, Sophia. Assalamualaikum and a very good morning, everyone. How's everyone feeling? Okay? So far, so good? Okay. So we usually invite a couple of our alumni to come for our open day or student day. So I think that sometimes it's better for the potential students or the new students to have interaction with our alumni who have been through the system and who have graduated, so that they can share their experience from the students' point of view. So if you have any questions afterwards, you may ask them any questions. As you can see, we have two panels here, very prominent figures in the industry, both doing different things at the moment. And to my left here is Mr. Masumi Hamahira, and as you can see from his name and his attire, he hails from Japan, looking very good in his national attire today. Thank you. And we also have our alumni, Mr. Yusuf Khan. He is from Malaysia. So both actually graduated from the CIFP program. CIFP is actually our main program when we first started, and then due to some changes, we actually changed it to MIFP. But rest assured that a lot of our prominent graduates are actually from MIFP. I mean, when I look at the database for the alumni, a lot of those who are doing well or who are quite renowned figures actually graduated from CIFP or MIFP, okay? So, but not to say that don't take up the other programs, I'm just, just saying statistically, okay? Don't be disheartened if you're already considering taking a PhD, now you want to change it. I think you can make up that mind later, okay? So before we begin the session, let me just introduce a little bit of the background of our alumni. Mr. Masumi Hamahira is the Executive Advisor, Islamic Banking Window for MUFG Bank Malaysia, and he's also the Grand Counsellor of the Chartered Institute of Islamic Finance Professionals, or SAFE. He has more than 20 years working experience in the banking and finance industry at MUFG Bank, and was appointed for Islamic Finance Department of MUFG Bank Malaysia in 2011. Before coming to Malaysia, he was attached to several key divisions in Tokyo head office of MUFG Bank. He was responsible for corporate finance, derivatives marketing and structuring, as well as global business planning. Leveraging on Masumi's experience, MUFG Bank Malaysia won Islamic Finance News Award, such as the Most Innovative Deal of the Year 2016, Cross-Border Deal of the Year 2014, Wakalah Deal of the Year 2013, and Structured Finance Deal of the Year 2012. Subsequently, he initiated the world's first Japanese yen sukuk issuance by MUFG Bank Malaysia in 2014. Masumi graduated from CIFP course at Inceif, as I mentioned earlier. He is currently a PhD candidate at IIUM, Institute of Islamic Banking and Finance. He aspires to contribute more significantly to the Islamic finance industry by sharing of industry knowledge with the public. He holds a bachelor's degree in economics from Keio University, Japan. So Keio University is also one of the collaborative partners that Inceif is having. Masumi also was selected in Islamica 500, the 500 Who Make Islamic Economy 2019, so quite recent, by World Islamic Economic Forum. He aspires to contribute more significantly to the development of Islamic fintech by sharing of industry knowledge with the public. Okay. So that's a lot of achievement by our alumni, Mr. Masumi. A little bit of background on Mr. Joseph Khan. He is a business design consultant with a background in Islamic finance and co-founder of Statlah Innovation. Joseph helps organizations, companies, and government-related entities of all shapes and sizes redesign business models and value propositions. At Statlah Innovation, he has created content for Statlah Innovation's workshops, infographics, online course, and product validation strategies. He has also delivered workshops on innovation and creativity, business model canvas, and value proposition design, product and market validation, design thinking for organizations such as Malaysian Global Innovation and Creativity Center, MAGIC, Institut Keusahawanan Negara, Institute Corporate Malaysia, and many other corporates and higher educational institutions such as University Technology Barat, of which he was a graduate as well, Heriot Ward University Malaysia Campus, Nottingham University Malaysia Campus, among others. Together with his team, they design and conduct workshops in Malaysia, Brunei, and Singapore. He is Malaysia's first certified Fascinate advisor and a member of the Chartered Institute of Islamic Finance Professionals, (SIF). He graduated from the CIFP program in Inceif and holds a Bachelor Business Administration, Islamic Banking, first class honors from the University Technology Barat. Okay, as you can see, very colorful background. When I read about their background, I feel like a bit underachieved. Okay, so let's start first. I would like to just get the story on how they were introduced to Islamic finance and how they came to know about Inceif. Masumi-san, would you like to start?
First of all, thank you for inviting some thank you for inviting the Japanese Samurai Bank, the Japanese alumni for this session. Please allow me to share the 2 points of my story. As you know, Japan is exporting soft content such as animation and comics. I believe you know as Doraemon, Dragon Ball, One Piece. So then I believe you are familiar with Toyota car or Honda car. Japan exporting those content to foreign countries, and then Japan is importing oil and gas. Meaning to say, Japan cannot survive without Islamic countries. So we need to keep a good relationship with Muslim countries. So if our business partner in Muslim countries need to use Islamic finance, of course, Japan also need to study, need to adopt Islamic finance. This is the first point. Second point, so why Japan has success after World War II because we was able to increase population. But unfortunately, Japanese population is decreasing now. So while Muslim population is going up, so Japan also needs a good relationship with coming from this Muslim country. So that's why we need to study Islamic finance. And the next one, why Inceif? So when I come to Malaysia in 2011, I have a lot of meetings with Bank Negara Malaysia and Security Commission Malaysia and leading banks such as HSBC and Standard Chartered. So many senior officers recommend and mention Inceif. This is one of the best venue in the world to study Islamic finance. So that's why after I came here, 2011, I enrolled as Inceif in June 2012. So this is the story of the Inceif with me. Thank you.
First of all, thank you for inviting. Assalamualaikum and almost good afternoon. Mas Misan, nice dress, ladies and gentlemen. I got acquainted with Islamic finance probably from a different angle. I initially started my education with a diploma in investment analysis. So investment analysis, we studied heavily on stocks as well as bonds. But the curriculum was very much conventional. So when I was about to fill out the form to continue my degree, I was always curious. I was not coming from a religious background. I came from a Chinese school, I went to a Methodist school. So it intrigued me to know what is the view of Islam when it comes to business transaction. And the best available courses at that point of time was, the closest one was Islamic banking. So I took up that particular area. But then after studying it, I got even more fascinated to know more about it. And then, but I did not start my career in the Islamic finance sector. So prior to doing my CIFP program, now known as the MIFP program, I was working with Petronas. I was in an altogether different field. I got offers from bank, but at that point of time, I thought up maybe just give it a try. And then after working for Petronas for nearly 3 years, so I decided to enroll. And why I chose Inceif, few reasons. Apart from it being a setup by Bank Negara, one of the beauty about Inceif, by virtue of being a brainchild of Tan Sri Zeti back then, was that whenever there's any event, they would get good cooperation from the market players. So you get access to a lot of industry speakers. So almost every week we will have talks by various CEOs or even specialists in the field of Islamic finance that comes here, just like this, where you can have close interaction. So that's number one. Number two, there was a lot of professors, top-notch professors that were invited throughout my time. Among others that I fondly remember is Dr. Abbas Miracle. Though that he did not specifically teach students for CIP program, but by virtue of the master's programs and the PhD programs started during the evening. So this is the benefit if you take up CIP, like during my time, I'm not sure with the schedule now. So in the later evening, since I devoted my time at the campus, it was in the whole campus, so we get to go to classes attended by the PhD students as well. And you'll be surprised that there are quite a number of prominent guys who attended the courses. Among others that I remember was Rafi Hanif. So he's presently the CEO of CIMB Islamic. So he was in the class. So you can imagine the kind of discussion that you get when you interact with this kind of guy. And not to mention, you get huge diversity. And for your information, when I was studying at Inceif, my housemate were classmates from CIFP, one Singaporean and one guy from Somaliland. So if you're looking for diversity, then I would say that Inceif is the place to be. You get quite a balanced mixtures and good exchange of views, especially if you want to know views on Islamic finance that's happening from around the world. So that will be the starter.
Thank you both. just like Mr. Dusu mentioned, in terms of our graduates, it's almost 50-50. For example, actually we have 55% of our graduates are from Malaysia, and the rest is actually international graduates. So altogether, our graduates are from 72 countries, and we have graduates as far as Canada.
What each and every Islamic bank is doing, why they are issuing a particular sukuk, what's their intention, what kind of innovation coming up, because we are at the forefront before they started to issue a particular instruments. So by being in Inceif, the beauty of it, as I said, journey once you are going into the industry. So that's what I see, the benefit of the content that we learned through our time in Inceif. And of course, after that, after the development things, I joined Quick Finance House Research. We involved in numerous research, Islamic finance in Europe, European Central Bank. We did the Global Islamic Finance Forum research on behalf of Bank Negara Malaysia. So that further helped me. And of course, since we are rigorously involved in various assignments on Islamic finance, and now they have even enhanced it with action-based learning, I'm pretty sure that the syllabus will help to equip you with the relevant knowledge that you require once you go into the workforce.
Okay, let me share my role under MFG. As you know, MFG's business is corporate financing, project financing. Typical client in Malaysia is Petronas, Tenaga National Telecom Malaysia, such a top-tier corporate. So, my major assignment is to establish self-finance global strategy for MFG Group. So, we have two offices in Malaysia and Dubai. So, Dubai is a legal status branch. It means Dubai branch is supervised by Japanese FSA. While MFG Malaysia is a subsidiary, meaning to say we are supervised by Bank Negara Malaysia. So that's why Malaysia office Islamic scope is much wider than Dubai's finance business scope. So MFG Malaysia need to cover the project finance and corporate finance in GCC countries as well. So to establish such a very huge strategy, I need to study what Islamic finance first, of course. So, in addition, I need to create a Sharia committee and department. So, I need to handle the recruitment process as well. So, without any knowledge, how I can recommend Sharia committee member or good Islamic finance department with. So, another one is I need to handle especially the cross-border transaction. So, in 2012, my requirement is to study the practice of Islamic finance. So that's why I choose to enroll in Inceif. So in the previous session, I found a key question. First question, which is better, MSc and MIP? So for me, if you after graduation in Inceif, you will go to industry. Definitely, I would like to recommend MIFP. And then, if the person not sure the person will go to academic work or industry, please choose MIP as well. But while if the student would like to go to academic work directly, please choose MSc. Because content is essential content is same, but approach is different. So if you choose MIFP, you have a lot of opportunity to discuss with practitioners. So unfortunately, Inceif has a lot of good faculty, not only from academic but also practitioners. And then in addition, you have a lot of opportunity to join engagement session from practitioners during the lunchtime. So it is very good opportunity for you to enhance your knowledge of Islamic finance practice. While if you choose MSc, you can study common sense of academic work. Let's say now I'm PhD candidate under IIM as well. So if you go to PhD, namely academic work, you need to study what's the rule of the academic. Academic rule is different of the common sense in business. For example, if you enter the academic work, you need to write thesis or research paper. So rule is quite different of business. So they need to establish the background first, and then they need to establish the problem statement. And then they need to mention literature review. Literature review means in the past, as a student or researcher or a professor, how they find out their fact in the self-finance. They need to mention all. And then what's the gap between the past output and our contribution? We need to study such a rule and we need to follow. So if you would like to go to academic work, please choose MSc first. And then I find out another question. What's the gap between Inceif and IIM? So currently I'm a PhD student under IIM, so I'm also very familiar with good point of Inceif and IIM. So first of all, Inceif good point is venue. This venue is very near from Bank Negara or any top banks. So it is very easy for us to handle our business activity and study. And then I believe Inceif will move to new place, which is very near from Bank Negara Malaysia as well. I think it will bring better opportunity for you as well. And then Inceif a lot of practitioner in faculty, and then due to the because this venue is quite near from the central bank Malaysia and the top banks, so practitioner is coming to this place to share their knowledge very frequently. So from practitioner perspective, Inceif MIP is one of the best opportunity for you to study in self-finance. Thank you.
Thank you both. There's a little bit of studying and marketing there. Thank you very much. And I think a good explanation by the characteristics of the different programs. So I hope you have been somewhat enlightened a bit more about the courses of our programs. If you can share with us, after all the years living in Inceif, what do you think that the best takeaway personally that you gained from studying here? Who would like to go first?
Before that, can I just have a show of hand? How many here are presently working? Working. All right. So I presume. How many are about to graduate or have just graduated? All right. So how many are considering the MIFP program? How many are considering the Master Science in Islamic Finance? Okay, good, no problem. PhD program? Alright, okay, fantastic, alright. Okay, so the question was regarding what do I find valuable most in terms of experience here. I didn't thought about it. What are the things that I loved the most when I was at Inceif? As I said, I am the type that I love knowledge so much. In fact, I spend almost if 24 hours, I think 2/3 of my time is spent in Inceif throughout that 1 year. So as I said, in the morning I went to classes in CIFP. I stayed on, had my lunch or dinner with my friends, and 6 o'clock the PhD class starts, and I would normally sit in with some of the favorite classes. Among the one that I love the most that is no longer offered at Inceif is a topic called the Quran and Economy. In fact, I think Inceif sort of defined MQA in introducing that course. Because at that point of time, we had one top-notch former executive dean of IMF, Dr. Abbas Mirakot. Not only he is a professor in econometrics, he had full professor at the age of 31, finished the PhD at 24, worked with IMF, and then because of his connection, constantly we had people from World Bank coming here, senior economists teaching about international financial management. You had suddenly someone teaching portfolio management who is a portfolio manager from World Bank. So you constantly get this kind of interaction. But the part about Professor Abbas, what I remember, I love most about him is that not only he is a super economist, won numerous awards, superbly humble, he also has a huge grasp of the Quranic Arabic. So I remember the first class, some brothers from Middle East would typically ask him questions. So since you are an Iranian, so would we be referring to the Sunni Quran or the Shia Quran? So he just blasted away and said, you can refer to whatever, but we are looking back at the root word of the Arabic. Another guy came in and then asked, Professor Abbas, does this particular issue within the conventional world, has it been mentioned in the Quran? Immediately, without referring any books, immediately he can reply and he can quote whichever verse and how does it relate to the modern economics. This is number one. Number two, one thing that I would strongly suggest if you were to study here, particularly Malaysians, I remember out of the 14 courses that I took, probably only 2 subjects I did my assignments with the total Malaysian team. The rest of the time, we had that diversity. I remember one time we had 7 nationalities in one project. So we had a Turkish guy, we had from Pakistan, from India, from UK, and so on. So make sure that you guys really mingle, work together, because we're talking about future of work. You must be able to adapt working with different nationality, different teams at different times. So this is the requirement of the future. And please start your own project. Start your own project. I remember certain assignments. I remember there was one assignment that I did with my friend Benjamin, who's from UK. The topic was value proposition of Islamic Bank. Of course, we could have just taken any textbook answers and bring it to the audience. But what we did was we tried to make it more interesting. We went around KLCC. We interviewed people, not directly, but we asked, if you have 1 million, where would you put your money? Would you put in an Islamic bank or conventional bank? Just to get real field studies, if you want to look at it, the video is still on YouTube. How would people react? So you make your assignments more interactive, more engaging, and it's reality. And you will start to see that actually after so long, since you see that I went into from Islamic finance into business, I realized that within the Islamic finance fraternity, people like you, people like us, we know what Islamic finance is. But when I started joining, let's say, industry when I was with Brand Ratings, I would recommend, if you get the chance, please work in an environment where Muslims are minority. My first week at Brand Ratings, I think only less than 20% of us are Malays, Muslims. My colleague was asking me, his name is Ram, he said, Yusuf, are you a Sharia compliant guy? But the best part of it is that is an opportunity for you to educate them what Islamic finance is all about. And they appreciate better. And you'll be surprised that even some seasoned people in the financial industry, I remember there was a senior analyst, was asking me, Yusuf, I can open an Islamic bank account. Can I? Because they thought like, Islamic bank is just for Muslims. And imagine, this is a person that has a seasoned experience in financial industry. So the opportunity for you to learn, for you to share, is even more enormous. And for Muslims, it makes you even more conscious of your actions and what you see. But you gain the most because you come in with an Islamic finance background, and then people are curious and people wanting to know what you have and what you can share to the table. So I hope I give you some tidbits of what makes it, what I like the most about being in the Inceif. And it's a close and tight-knit faculty. I remember that you can easily request, if you want to learn something, I remember I just went to the Knowledge Management Center. I said, I would like to learn about how to do research using the latest technology. So they can just, you just group in a few people and they can organize the class for you. You don't have so much red tape to get things done here. So that's another beauty thing. Probably if you go to another university, probably you have to get so many approval just to get things done. So this is another advantage of being a close and tightly niche university.
Okay, I got my memory in 2012, but MFG need to comply new Sharia governance guideline issued by Bank of Malaysia. So we have a lot of discussion in our bank, and then I need to clarify several points from Sharia perspective. So, fortunately, I took the class of Sharia in Inceif, and then I was able to have a discussion with my lecturer, who is Akram, Dr. Akram. He is SAC Sharia Advisory Council member under Bank of Malaysia. So directly, I can access such upstream great person. And then I can, fortunately, I can get clear-cut answer from him, and then I was able to share his view with my bank. So everybody surprised how you can approach such a great person in finance industry, because I'm a Inceif student, that's all. So this is very great opportunity for you. So this is very special. So another one is, so I remember well, Inceif has a webinar. Webinar means if I cannot join the day class or actual physical class in the campus, so I can access the webinar, and then professor also access to the webinar, and then first he gives a lecture, and then after that we can organize interactive session. Two-way session. So actually, the lot of foreign students also join the session, including the London. So actually, through such a good infrastructure, we can have a lot of international discussion as well. So, and in addition, anytime we can throw the question to prominent professor. So this is very good infrastructure for us to study Islamic finance. Thank you.
Okay, I think we're nearing the end of the session, so I would like to ask, what do you hope to achieve more for yourself in terms of career-wise?
Career-wise, since I've left mainstream Islamic finance for the past 6 years, my last job was Quick Finance House Research. I was an analyst manager there. So we did a lot of research, as I mentioned. Bandara holds an biannual event, Global Islamic Finance Forum. So that used to be the firm that normally gets the job. But I think since the firm has been shut down, no one is doing that research. So anybody want to take up as a business opportunity. So, so now that I have transitioned into a new area, so I do a lot of things for entrepreneurs actually. Why I go into this field? One of the reasons is probably I had enough of doing research, interacting with the industry players, that I feel that I would love to bring Islamic finance knowledge to where it started, whereby if you all read about the history, whether to Fazlur Rahman, Muhammad as a trader, or even there are some prominent researchers that wrote about early Islamic capitalism, you realize that Islamic finance, most of the contract that you'll be learning, it will be livelier when applied into business. So hence I decided to go into this field. So how do I apply what I've known from Inceif is, since the days I used to analyze principal terms and conditions for people to issue sukuk or issue any Sharia compliant transaction. So I bring those knowledge into a smaller type of setting. For example, how do people set up business partnership, how you can indirectly apply risk sharing contract between investors as well as the entrepreneur. So I bring this kind of interaction to a small scale. And since I do a lot of things with entrepreneur, I indirectly also help social entrepreneurs. So for the past few months, I've been working with some institution on Islamic social finance, whereby they're working on things like wakaf. They want to inject elements of innovation, how to help marginalized group of people, and indirectly we also still use some of these Islamic finance elements to help them. As for my personal future, of course, I hope that one of the biggest challenges that I would say for the present generation of people taking out Islamic finance is the job opportunity. So I think that's one of the main concerns. If I were to reflect, people from my batch, be it CIFE or even Master Science and Finance, there's actually one guy who's worked in Alliance of Financial Inclusion, taking up Master Science and Finance. He's doing quite well there. Most of my friends now are head of Islamic Finance for HSBC Amanah. Many of them are holding at managerial and AVP level. You will realize that a lot of Islamic banks or those with Islamic finance setting, you will typically find there will be Inceif guys there. So pretty easy if you want to do your assignments and you want to get their cooperation. You can just find them on LinkedIn. So as for me, the other area that I'm looking towards is on data analytics. So now we have Islamic finance knowledge, so you can bridge, because once you take up Islamic finance, by virtue of Islamic finance, you will need to study conventional finance. So that's given. So that's another advantage of taking Islamic finance. So now I'm trying to add another element. I've been in the sphere of innovation for the past 6 years, helping people to design product or services so that it's marketable. You design new experience for people when they come to any organization, improving processes and etc. So now I'm trying to go into the sphere of using data to complement the knowledge that I've been working on, Islamic finance and other business things that I've been working on. So if you ask me, so that's the direction that I'm going.
For me, currently I have three agendas for my career. The first, I would like to contribute to internationalization of Islamic finance. Of course, I'm an Inceif student. Inceif has one name, Global University of Islamic Finance. So currently, MFT support Islamic project finance for Pulau Terminal. Pulau Terminal is what we call Indonesia Petronas. So actually, it is the first time for Pulau Terminal to use Islamic finance for project. So why we made it? Because it is very new for Indonesian person to use Islamic project finance. So there are a little bit difference in the Sharia interpretation between Malaysia and Indonesia, but institution content is still the same. So by leveraging my network with senior faculty, I have shared the good knowledge and good view with counterparty in Indonesia. And then we were able to handle such a lot of discussion with many other banks and Pulau Terminal as well. Just 2 weeks ago, we closed the deal. So we would like to continue such an international contribution in Islamic finance. So the second one is ESG. I think Prof. Iskander also mentioned ESG in the previous session. So just for your information, concerning ESG, MFG Group made official decision to stop to provide financing for coal-fired power generation project. So this is same line with Malaysia government initiative. So currently, Tenaga Nasional also moving for solar power plant project. So last year, we support Tenaga Nasional solar power project in Malaysia by Islamic project finance. So one of the situation is to support social finance and environment finance by using Islamic finance. Last one is innovation by blockchain. I believe you have experience to hear the word of blockchain. But do you know who invented blockchain? Inventor of blockchain is Satoshi Nakamoto. So difficult this Japanese name, but nobody knows who is Satoshi Nakamoto. So, but there are a lot of repetition, but maybe unfortunately he is not Japanese. He is programmer and scientist. And then, so blockchain is a new innovation for the world, especially banking industries. Because by using blockchain, we can save cost. I believe a human being always would like to save cost, right? So if we can save cost, it is very easy for us to enhance our happy life. So I'm considering how we can adopt the blockchain to Islamic finance industry as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay, last but not least, I think you guys have mentioned this a little bit here and there when you're explaining about your stories. But what one piece of advice would you like to give to these people here who are considering to take a program in Islamic finance at Inceif?
One piece of advice that I would highly recommend is invest in yourself. I think that's the most crucial part. If you want to stay relevant, times are changing. University are changing, the world is changing, constantly changing. The only thing that you can do is adapt. And to adapt, you need to invest in yourself. Among my regrets is probably I read a lot of books when I was at Inceif, but I wish I read even more books when I was at Inceif. Because that's the only time when you are a student, you have this liberty of exploring a lot of things. Though the library of Inceif, as I remember, was small, but the content that was available, since it's a new setup, so it has a lot of good quality books and even good access to online content. But do read many stuff, not just stuff on Islamic finance. Have a growth mindset, and then continue invest in yourself even after you have finished, graduated from Inceif and so on. That would be my word of advice.
For me, I think this innovation is running so fast. So this important point for you is to make decision very fast. So let's say if you're interested in fintech, please continue to such ambition with your study as well. So I believe already you come here, it means already you have a mind to study Islamic finance, right? So please fill in your application soon, now, at the summit. And then please consider your life. So this is my recommendation. Thank you.
Thank you very much to both of our panels. I would like to open to the floor for anyone who has any questions for our alumni guests. Just raise your hands. Anyone?
Any small things that you'd like to know?
If you want to ask about like how tough was the course and so on, like this is the time. I mean, like they can advise you accordingly. I mean, they went through the experience.
Maybe while you're thinking about this question, I just shared something that I remembered from the session that I had at Inceif. I remember I graduated, but I came for one of the sessions. I think it was just, the CEO of MUFG, Kim and Shen. I forgot his name. But what he mentioned, that was back in more than close to 10 years ago. He shared what are the similarities of Islam, Maqasid Sharia and the Japanese value. That's number one. Number two, he shared about what is the master plan for the Japanese organization once they went into Islamic finance. So I remember there was a three-pronged approach. Approach number one is to send people to come to countries that have advanced knowledge in Islamic finance, study it. Level two is to bring this knowledge, expertise to Muslim majority countries that don't have any Islamic finance expertise. And prong number 3 is to bring this back to Japan. And true enough, after a few years when they shared, so Japan issued the first sukuk. So big countries is that they will support all the business initiative done by the entrepreneurs. For example, there's a Japanese entity coming here, so the banks will also be here. For what? To support the business of this particular Japanese entity. And of
the person here have an interest in the recruitment process as well. So let's say first, so 3 months ago, actually we have a vacancy for Sharia chief position. I think actually the I'm a student. Department, I don't remember the department name, but yes, Assad. So they have a good network with alumni, and then always I raise with Inceif executive, and then once I ask them, definitely very soon they shared many CV with me, and then fortunately, unfortunately, already we made many interviews with them, and then we get one good person from Inceif alumni. They will participate in the next convocation. So there are a lot of engagement between banks and Inceif. And then for your question, so for example, Sharia governance or to develop a product, Israel is also very close to Inceif. So actually, sometimes Bank Negara Malaysia outsource their research to Israel. And then actually Israel is one of the entity to handle such a primitive research in Islamic finance. So when we make innovation, we need to go back to very basic point of Sharia. So once you join Inceif, please study the foundation of the Sharia very seriously. When we make innovation, always we need to go back to foundation. Where is actual borderline between non-Sharia compliance and Sharia compliance? So without clear-cut knowledge, you cannot draw the clear-cut borderline. Let's say you can check. If you approach the person, their response is not clear. The person is not familiar with the knowledge of Sharia. If the person knows well in detail, the person can guide you by sharing what is actual clear-cut borderline between non-Sharia compliance and Sharia compliance. So when we make innovation, where is the borderline? This is a crucial part. So please study the very basic Sharia, source of Sharia in Islamic finance. And then once you join Inceif, and then if you make decision to join to bank, please make best effort to keep the good relationship with your alumni and Inceif staff and Inceif professors. Definitely, this will help your life in Islamic finance industry. So this is what I would like to share with you. Thank you.
I think that's the end of this session. Round of applause again for our guests today. Really good stories and some good points for you guys. But before they leave, we would like to just present them with a token of appreciation from Inceif. We also have students who can who can answer your questions about specific programs that they're doing. Okay, thank you very much, everyone.
Okay, before we end the session, before we break out, I just need 5 minutes of your time to fill out the feedback form that is in the bag. Okay, we would really appreciate your feedback, and you can just pass it to my colleague Farid, who's at the back of the room just before you leave. Alright. There will be a campus tour if you're interested to explore our campus. Please head on to the registration table, the registration area, and my colleague Asma Nabila will help you guys out with that. It would be available throughout the day. And then please feel free to just roam around our campus. Okay, so thank you all so much, and hope that it has been informative and that you've enjoyed the sessions that we had for you guys today. Lunch is served. I think it's the same area that if you guys had a bite in the morning. And we hope you will mingle, chat with our students, alumni, staff just around this area. Check out the booths, take a tour and enjoy the rest of the day. Thank you so much. Assalamualaikum and good day.
Thank you.